Good afternoon. This is Jason. I'm KC5HWB. Ham Radio 2.0. This episode will be somewhere in the 120 range, 124, if my math is correct. This will be episode 124. And this is going to be the type of thing that I'm going to focus a little bit more on coming up in 2018, which will be live interviews. Real happy to have Mike from Flex Radio here with me today. And you just told me your call sign, and I forgot it. Victor Alpha 3?
Victor Alpha 3, Mike Whiskey.
Victor Alpha 3, Mike Whiskey. All right, Mike. Thanks for joining the show today. So, but this is the type of thing that I want to start doing more often. I've done 3 or 4 interviews in the past, never with Flex Radio before, so this is something new. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Mike has to say. We got a whole new line of Flex Radios that's about to hit the market, or maybe they just have. We'll find that out in a minute. And but this type of interview thing here is really cool. When it's done over Skype, it works really well, especially for ham operators outside of the USA, which Mike obviously is. So. Mike, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been with Flex Radio, how long you've been a ham operator, and then we can just kind of get into it.
I think like all of us, I've been a ham since when it was the geeky thing to do in high school, back when I was about 15 or 16, and living in Northern Ontario, and had some really cool mentors and some people that were obviously probably my age at the time, and I don't know, it was just the right thing to do. So always been active in just about everything because the hobby brings so much. And one of my mentors said, Joe Beverly, he said, there's so much to ham radio. Don't just focus on one thing. And I guess I think I went way too far the other way. So I do HF, VHF.
That's kind of what I do, too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I haven't done, but I don't focus on one thing myself either. So, okay, good. So when was that you got your license? What year was that?
1974, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And, so it's actually been good. As I tell kids this today, it's actually gotten me a number of jobs with companies like IBM and EMC, HP. Worked in the IT world most of my life, but ham radio has always been there. And as a person whose hobby is technology, it was a great fit. So again, probably not telling anybody anything on your listeners that they're not aware of.
Right.
I do some contesting, and I've run repeaters and tuned duplexers and learned a lot from some really smart people. My background is actually aircraft electronics, is what I graduated from college in long time ago. And but it all parallels. It's just electronics technology. And back in July or June, I joined Flex with their inside sales team and spent a lot of time talking to some great hams on the phone and meeting them face-to-face, and met some pretty cool people on the phone, too, from, I have to tell this because this is just how it is sometimes.
Go ahead.
Had a really bad Monday. It was just a lot of things going on. Nothing was going right. And this gentleman from your neck of the wood calls me up, and if he wasn't a mission commander for NASA, proceeds to spend an hour telling me about Apollo 11, Apollo 13, and what a wonderful guy. So it made my whole week, if not my whole month.
There you go.
And there's lots of us like that.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So, well, before the video started here, we were talking about some stuff, and I'll plug my buddy Jim Sharp, W5AP, and he's a big Elocraft user, but he was talking about getting into Flex a while back. I got another friend of mine who's got a Flex, and I think it's either a 66 or a 6700. I get the models mixed up sometimes, but but he's got a 32 or 35-inch LED monitor on his desk that runs it, and it's the quad receiver, quad VFO.
He's 65, probably.
65, then. Maybe that's it. Okay, so he's got 4 VFOs up there, and he's got them listening, and 80 meters, 20 meters, 15, whatever. And he gave me a demo of it one time. So that was my first ever hands-on. That was probably a couple years ago. My first ever hands-on experience with actually sitting down in front of a Flex radio. KB5CUS is his call sign. So his name's Alan. But
cool.
he does a lot of HF stuff. And but I was recording another video before you called and talking about the ARRL grid square chase. I can't say that word very good. Grid square. It comes out gwidquare, something like that. But it's the grid chase that ARRL started January 1st of this year. So I'm going to be doing some of that in some on-the-road videos with I have an IC7000 in the car. But I'll probably do some from the shack here. Might try to get some of that video. So probably a lot of people out there using Flex that have that are interested in that sort of thing. So I know you've got two new product lines coming out, but it's actually 4. There's 2 models, and it's like a standalone SDR only, but then there's like the same model inside of a case with its own screen.
Yes.
So, okay, explain the difference between all that, because I think I know, but I'm a little bit fuzzy. But for the audience, tell us about the 2 or 4, however you want to say that, new models coming out, and what the difference is between the standalone and the one that comes in the case.
Yeah, of course. So originally we had the 6300, the 65, and the 6700, all black boxes. We call them servers. They sit near your ham shack now. You plug them into the LAN and hook up an RF cable, and you're on the air. Pretty much, it is that simple. Mm-hmm. Certainly a lot simpler than Power SDR was in our early 3000, 5000, 1500 days. So the new models are the 6400, which is the replacement of the Flex 6300. It's a black box, no display, and it replaces the 6300, but it has most of the specs that our 6500 had. So it becomes a really good buy, a really great radio for $19.99. I'm going to throw the price up there because it's just becoming cheaper or less expensive, and to get a high-end radio. So the 6400. We then, and that has what we call SCU, Spectral Capture Unit.
Okay.
And the Spectral Capture Unit, I'm going to go a little techie here.
Go ahead.
The Spectral Capture Unit is what connects to your antenna. And on the 6300 and the 6400, you have 2 antenna ports, but only 1 Spectral Capture Unit. That's the part that gets all the ether in and collects all this data and gives us what we hear in Sideband, CW, or whatever.
Okay.
When we jump, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
That's the 6400. And it's got bandpass filters that allow, or rather help with co-band interference. Great for field day, loud neighbors, or low band, or you got a broadcast station nearby. These bandpass filters are key for eliminating cross-band interference. And they go to about 30 dB band isolation, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's going to replace the 6500 in some way, in some worlds. Again, 2 slices or 2 virtual receivers if you're not familiar with the Flex world.
Okay.
The other, I'll come to the M models in a minute.
Okay.
Then we step up now to the 6600, and that's a bit of a cross between our older 65 and our current 67. The 6400 has 2 of those spectral capture units. Now, why is that important? I want to be watching 6 or listening to 6 meters on my 6-meter antenna, and I want to be on 20 or 40 or 80 or 160 at the same time, especially for those Christmas 6-meter openings that just sort of happen every year. Right? You just wait for it, and you're on the low band stuff. So now you can use, like 2 unique radios. In the old days, which isn't that old ago, you'd have your big HF rig on 80 or something, and another radio on 6, just because you wanted to be on both at the same time. Mm-hmm. And those have 4 slices, 4 virtual receivers, and you can assign those to any antenna as you like. And the other big deal with the 6600 is you get 4 slices, as I said, but you get 70 dB filters. Ooh. You can run full duplex on this radio. You can be on 80 meters transmitting while you're listening to 20.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
And you need some bit of antenna isolation, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And if you're the contester type, this really dials you right down into the SO2R world, where you don't need 2 pieces of hardware. You can do it all on 1 radio.
Yeah. Okay.
And with our new amplifier, you can do it all in 1 amplifier.
Okay.
And that's pretty leading edge. So the next step is the M. The M gives you the front panel display, the Maestro display, as we're used to saying.
Maestro, that's what it was. Yeah.
Right. You can sort of see it, one above my chair there.
Yeah.
It's off at the moment, but it gives you that front panel that you may have grown up with. And if you're, like, I'm going to say most hams, we have different classes of hams, right? We have the tinkerers, probably like you and I, which we don't care. As long as it works, we'll make it work. But there are days you want to just turn the radio on and be on the air.
Right.
And like on my remote station, I can actually simply unplug this. I can go to my remote station and still connect, with my TS480, which is 100 miles away.
Yeah.
And it just works. I want it to come on in a second. But we're going to be able to do that with the 6600M and the 6400M. It takes a few seconds to boot, but you sat it down on the desk, you hooked up your 12 volts, you hooked up an antenna, and you're on the air. No computer required. The nice thing, too, is now you want to use your laptop or an Apple device or the Maestro, you can still do that. You're not limited in any way, shape, or form. Just gives you that real handy feature.
Okay. Couple of questions. What you just said, that you called it an SCU, I think, right?
Spectral capture unit.
Spectral capture unit, and you said that's what your antenna connects to. So is that a UHF port, PL259? What kind of connector does that have?
It's a PL259 on the back of both of them. The 64 comes with two, but you can only use one at any time. So that's your basic AB antenna switch.
Yes.
And then you get up to the 66 where you have both spectral capture units.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, and I'd asked you before, I'm just going to repeat this, I'd asked you before we started to send me some images of these, so I might do some overlays in the video here somewhere, so hopefully we can get some pictures of what that looks like. Because the other gentleman that I was emailing with, Mark, is that right? Matt. Okay, Matt.
Matt Youngblood, yes.
Yes, yeah. So I was emailing back and forth with him, and he sent me some pictures. Well, he sent me the flyer brochures that you'd see on a Hamfest table at a vendor or something, and so I was reading up on those and whatnot. And they had a really good shot of just the front of the unit, but I didn't see on those photos. I didn't see the back of it where all the connectors are, and that's what everybody always wants to see is the back.
Everybody's like buying a new stereo, right?
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah. So we'll hopefully I can get a couple of those from you, but. Yeah, good deal. Okay.
Just in case I'm going to say it now because you'll probably be showing them about now. The one I have has a split down the back of the rear panel. It's the prototype one, and so that split's gone, and it's one nice piece of aluminum piece.
Okay.
So if you happen to get one that I don't have a current one, be aware. So I thought I'd mention that right now. So.
Okay. No
problem. The other thing too about the M models, they have an HDMI port on the back, so you can stick a television or bigger monitor on the back, and it displays exactly what's on the M model, but on a bigger monitor, which is pretty cool. And I've already had a couple of customers say, I got this old, 1K television I don't need anymore, and it's about 60 inches. I'm going to hang it in the wall right here just because I can.
1K. Nice.
So they're old. They replace their 1K with a 4K. So.
Right, yeah, totally. Well, I haven't done the 4K upgrade. I've still got I've got a 720p TV and a couple of 1080p TVs, and that's all I don't do a lot of TV watching, so I'll get to it eventually, but I don't have it yet. So, but the standalone, the non-M version has HDMI ports in it, obviously. Also, I would assume. Because,
no, it does not. There's no video card in the standalone version.
So how do you interface it then to get a display?
So you're going to use a PC and Smart SDR.
Okay.
And if you want the bigger screen, you could echo it out of your PC and put it in behind.
Oh, okay.
Like a third or fourth monitor.
Okay.
And then the other ways to interface with any of our 6,000 radios are you have your PC. There is a Mac client for those Mac people that's available for purchase from Dog Park Software in Toronto.
Okay.
And if you're a Mac user, you already know about him because you're probably using MacLogger or any of the other ham stuff, wonderful stuff he writes. You've got an Apple device, an iOS, iPad, or iPad Pro looks pretty cool. I should have brought one down. I could have held it up on my remote station. You could have seen it.
Okay.
And I've operated all over the world with that in my previous life in the IT world. And
what about Android? Any Android or Windows options?
No, we're not going to. However, that's a very good question because it is a very popular one.
Yeah.
And it comes down to a supportability role. If we wrote it for Android, which version, which cellular provider, all of these would have to be tested against, and it would really make it cost prohibitive to write an Android version that either ran on what version of Android And again, as I said, what cellular provider, because they all do their own builds.
Right.
And then you have to go test it and make sure it's right. And you can't ship it till it's right. And so the QA or the quality assurance would really be expensive and time-consuming.
Okay.
However, for some enterprising souls, we do have APIs, application program interfaces,
sure,
for the radio. So if somebody wanted to take a shot at it and write their own, all those tools are available, so you can get all the same feature functionality. And that's how the iOS application was written by Marcus, was through all those plugins. So we haven't closed the door. Flex has just decided not to focus on it at this time, if at all. We are a Windows shop, and all of our developers are Windows-based. So.
Okay. So the iOS, so I don't. I'm an Android guy. I don't have an iPhone. I had an iPhone at my last daytime job, and I didn't really like it at all. And I've got the RFinder Android device with built-in 2A UHF analog and DMR radio. What exactly does the iPhone app do? What does the app do exactly? Because does it totally remote control the rig, or is it just something? Is it like an add-on or something?
No, it provides all the radio features from transmit, receive, VFO, band setting, band selection, filter width is all available in the app. You could use it like a regular radio, much like your RFinder.
Oh, okay.
I have often been on 80 meters driving around in the car, and
on the iPhone.
It takes HF Mobile to a little bit different world, and I've done a whole lot of HF Mobile. I think I own every screwdriver antenna ever made.
Yeah,
So, but now I just stick my iPhone up, and I get on my Sunday morning 80 meter net and just sit there and Bluetooth in.
Awesome.
The whole car echoes. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
okay.
It gives you one slice, and if you're a road warrior guy, and I know this because I did it for a living, and it's Wednesday night, you've had your last clubhouse sandwich because you've probably sat in way too many hotels at the Marriott. You can get on the air, and the hotel internets are getting so good now that they give you 1 megabit, maybe 2, but it's a really solid 1 meg, and it's all you need maybe to get back to your radio. It just an iPhone's nothing to carry around. Dave Bottom at Radio Sport Headset makes a beautiful iPhone headset with a nice noise-canceling microphone on it.
Yeah.
As I said, I came out of the IT world. I've been on a train hosting a conference call with it. My boss thought I was in an office, which was perfect. That's what I wanted.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's what you wanted to think. I met Dave at Xenia last May. He had the booth. I shared a booth with Bridgecom Systems, and he had the booth next to us. So I actually had met him before. I actually met him in Orlando last year, and then I saw him again at Dayton, and I talked to him, and after I talked to him for a minute, I think he said he remembered me. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But then I got a short video of him because I was telling you about our de-expeditions we do every year. I say we. There's a local club that does a de-expedition. I've gone on it 2 of the last 3 years. And one guy came year before last, and he had one of those Radio Sport headsets. I never heard of him before that. And, man, that thing was just top-notch. I mean, this guy was a big CW guy, and he's like, I don't miss any CW calls. It's just, it doesn't happen. And I'm like, well.
Such a light headset. He did it right. The headset's incredibly light. It's my most comfortable headset. Noise-canceling mic. Fairly well equalized, so you can tailor it on the bottom end, with the apps that are available with
adapters,
it. Smart SDR, boost the highs, cut the lows down a bit if you're trying to do a bit of DX work. And but he said, because my wife got hold of it, I had to put full range drivers into it, so it's great for Netflix too.
All right, good to know. Good to know. Okay, well, I'm going to have to. I do have an iPad. There's an iPad in the house that I use for a couple of things. I've never used it for anything ham radio related at all, but there's a couple of drive applications I use for it, mapping programs, and I also use it. I have a drone that I fly up and I do videos at Hamfest and various other places. A couple of guys have had me come out and do videos of their tower sites. Get up there.
I'm no stranger to those.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, but I use the iPad on the drone. So, should I actually be lucky enough to come into possession of a Flex radio one of these days, I'm going to have to try that out. That's neat. That sounds like a really fun time to do. So, but okay, good. The other thing I was going to ask you about, now this isn't really new, but I think that was at Orlando. Well, are you planning on, do you ever go to Hamfest down here in the States?
Yes,
the bigger
personally?
One. Yeah, you personally.
I've been to a Pacificon, and I think I'll be at Dayton, or Xenia. Still Dayton.
Yeah, Dayton. Yeah, Xenia, Dayton, whatever.
Still in Dayton, sort of.
Right. Yeah, we have to fly to Dayton, so you get to Dayton. But okay, so Orlando Hamcation is about a month from now at the time of this recording, and I went to that one last year, and it's laid out like Xenia is. It's in a fairgrounds with RV camping in the back, and there's a big, huge concrete slab that covers the entire campus and buildings all around it. And when we went to Orlando last year, was before the first year Dayton was in Xenia, and I'm like, man, this is so nice because there's not mud in the parking lot, and there's places to park, and it's just laid out really. And then of course we got to Xenia, and Xenia was totally better than Hera was in Dayton. But that's a great show. Now that's a long way for you. I'm sure.
Yeah, I won't be coming down. It's at a budget, so to speak. But we have a lot of great guys that will show up there.
Yeah, I think
a couple of the Alpha team members. So a lot of good people to talk to.
Okay, good. I might look for a couple of those guys. There was one guy last year that was talking about that new network or LAN amplifier that you guys have.
Oh, the PGXL, the Power Genius.
Power Genius. You want to tell us about that?
So the Power Genius is a full power amp, 1,500 watts out. It will be the easiest amplifier you will have ever hooked up. You're going to plug 220 into it, hook up your RF cables, of course, and if you're 64 or 6600, you're going to use both SCUs through it because it can handle both A and B.
Yep.
And you know what? And you're going to plug it into the LAN, you're done. Well, wait a minute. You're going to say, what about push to talk? No, we do that in the LAN now. Now, if you happen to have two, FTD X3000 or any other current HF rig, we can handle that too, right down to the band switching.
Really? Okay. So you don't have to have a flex radio to use it?
No.
Okay.
No, and this is really it's a top-end amplifier, but the features it brings to the game and how it switches amplification modes depending on your, whether you need to be Class A or you can wiggle away from Class A because you're into the single carrier digital mode or whatever. It loafs along at full power. What else was I going to say about it? In an SO2R environment or something where you're in a contest mode and you only have one operator able to transmit at the same time, we are going to get to this point where we have multi-client. And what that means is you're going to have one radio, like a 6600. You're going to have one amplifier. You're going to have two guys using it.
Different bands or different 20 meters, 4 meters, whatever.
Yeah, you're going to hook up maybe two Maestros or two computers to it, and you're both dialing around. Of course, you can't, in the different multi-situations, you can't have both people transmitting at the same time. So that's okay. The radio switches back and forth, or the amplifier does, in nanoseconds.
Yeah.
For the true SO2 operator that's maybe had two K3s and two, KPA or expert amps or whatever.
Yeah.
You now can do that all on one device, all the way through.
Nice.
and the plumbing to plumb this all together, you've gotten rid of a ton of wires. They all disappeared.
Okay.
Even on all of our 6000 series radios, to digress away from the amplifier a minute, you'd run digital modes, right? How many adapter cables have you made up from any radio to what computer? All Kenwood start over.
Right. Right.
You don't make up a single cable with us. It's all done in the computer.
Nice.
Not one.
It's just a standard USB cable to interface to whatever.
I don't even need that. Because you're going to run Smart SDR on your computer.
Oh, okay.
Everything on the radio, all these slices look like a sound card. You're going to say, hey, WJST, just connect to receiver 1. Oh, I'm going to do FT8 in a different WSGAT. Okay, you start another copy. You can connect to receiver 2. Oh, I want to run Whisper full time. You're going to be on receiver 3. All done.
Gosh. All done.
Without a cable.
Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to have to get my hands on one, and I was talking to Matt about that, actually. So I'm going to have to get my hands on one and do some demoing of it here on the show. I'll I'll move my FT1000 MP Mark V out of the way and put it up there on the. That's like a 28-inch monitor, so that'll be big enough for everybody to see. But yeah, very cool stuff.
I have the new 6600. It's actually up in my other office because I was looking at it. I should have brought it down. I work at home, so I'm actually in the ham shack, because I have to work all day for 40 hours a week.
Right.
Try to keep all my ham stuff away from the office stuff.
No
it's
distraction.
even harder because I work in the industry. And,
right.
And while I've done that before, I should have brought the 6600 down to show you. It's tall. It's about I've forgotten the height. It's pretty tall, but we put some big fans in it. They can move a lot of air very quietly.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason for the height. Of course, it's the same height as the Maestro, which I showed over there, or happen to have two. As I said, no cable is long enough. So that gives you an idea of the Maestro, which is used remotely.
Okay.
And
how
the
deep?
important to this is it's not small by design.
Right. Yeah.
And real VFO knob.
Okay.
And A and B VFOs. They feel nice.
Okay.
And I'm not connected to my remote. I was actually just starting to when you called. So I'm going to connect to my remote station.
Okay.
Which is 100 miles away, and we're going to hear it come up, and I'll turn it down. But
show us how deep it is, because it's not very deep, I don't think. Yeah. Because it looks like you're holding up a radio that's like this deep down the desk, but no, it doesn't take up any room at all.
It's a bit of a mess. We weren't really prepared for this.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hold on. Power cord's caught. But what's important too is you got all the key I/O on the back.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got Morse code. CW key can go here. This is powered speakers, so it's actually powered into another set of external speakers. Line out to put into a mixer, your mixer type. Headphones, push-to-talk line, and then a mic and a line in and a standard RJ45 connector. Now, the nice thing about these mic and speaker headphones is just about any computer headset would work too. And there's some really nice sound in $10 headsets out there.
True. Yeah, true.
So
okay.
But you can see I have limited. I do a whole talk on remote operating. And anywhere anybody has a great HF station because the noise floor is quiet, I guarantee they got crappy internet.
Yeah. Okay.
And 1 meg is as good as you can get. Now you'll see my waterfall here is running pretty slow. Like generally, you see a water flow pretty quickly. I only have about 1 megabit of reliable outload on my HF station, so I trade off that bandwidth a little bit. If I can crank it up here a bit, and that'll fill in. Now this is an 80-meter net. Here in Canada, it's on 3755. They're there all day long. You can hear them.
Just barely. There you go.
So.
Okay.
But I wanted to point out here on the Maestro, Jason, as well as we've kept this really clean, and a couple of ham guys, very active ham people, designed it, and so like a volume control, and then the outer ring is something we call AGCT, which is like an RF gain, but it's your most powerful SDR tool. Filter width control. Here, we repeat it again for the second slice. Okay, 2 VFOs. This knob is your mic gain, and the other is your RF power, and then if you're in CW, your mic gain becomes your CW speed for the onboard keyer. Now, for the most part, if you think about it, those are the buttons you use all day long.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You can program a couple of function keys here. Mox, if you want to go in at a transmit, a 2-key, and the automatic antenna tuner. Okay. And then these double shift buttons. All the other things are on menus within the radio, but they're really well laid out.
Yeah.
Down the side of your perfect, in your perfect world, from some special Maestro stuff to the radio to function keys to your network, some audio transmit. And they're only like 1 deep, so it's not like you have to go searching for things. Now, I own a couple of ICOM radios. I've used just about everything, and it's all there somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mention sort of my poke at my 7100, which it's a great radio. I love it. I do D-Star with it and everything, and some local digital with it. But I'm always surfing trying to find where was that filter with control.
Unless you use it every day, but
we tried to keep this really logical. And when I first saw this 5 years ago and it was this big, I was ecstatic. because it wasn't small.
It wasn't small, yeah. Yeah, okay. Good.
Pretty happy with it. So that's the Maestro, and I think, and if you had an M model, you also you get that size panel on the front end.
Is the now that's a 6600 you said?
So this is connected right now to a 6300, 100 miles away.
No. The actual what you were just showing us is the 6600 model.
No, that's the Maestro, but that's the same panel on the 6600M and the 6400M.
Okay. So they're both the same size.
They're absolutely identical.
Okay. That was my question. Okay.
So we've done a lot too to keep the price down.
Right.
So regardless, the 6400M or the 6400, the 6600, plus the M models from the outside are all the same case, all the same tooling.
Okay.
So I apologize. I'm staring at Jason, who's just below my camera, so I can try to remember to look at the camera.
That's
I got
okay.
educated in the beginning.
That's all right. That's all right. We're doing fine.
This is all tooling, right? Anything we can do to keep the price down, we're able to pass that on to today's ham. It's important.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, good deal. Well, man, I'm excited to see it in action. Oh, do we have a? When I first started talking to Matt, he was talking about a November or December release date, but I traded some emails with him shortly before Christmas, and he said it's going to be into next year. So, do we have an actual release date for that yet?
So let me put my software hat on, because that was where I came out of in the IT world and software support delivery and big customers.
Okay.
Any new software project, and this is not an excuse, it's reality. Not sadly, but it is reality.
Mm-hmm.
Any new software project and any new product isn't done till it's done. Yes, you can spec it out and you can say what you're going to do to get here, and there's a lot of work, and you do all your estimation like in any manufacturing project.
Yep.
Right now we are, and that's why it keeps getting pushed out, sadly.
Okay.
So today, there'll be an email later today, probably by the time you publish this, from Gerald, where we think we're going to ship. We are looking at probably shipping now in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That'll wiggle itself around. We have about 20 or 30 radios on the air already with our alpha testers. They've been on for about a month, 3 weeks to a month. There's been no showstoppers. There's no RF issues. Everything has just been fine tuning. So if you've ever written code, you know what I mean. You first get it working, and then you got to make it look nice. So now we're into the software cosmetics or the workflow issues.
Okay.
Hey, when I go to 40 and go to 80, this is supposed to happen. It didn't. Not a big deal. I can work around it. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
So the latest software production is about 2 weeks out. Once we get to GA or general availability, we can ship a lot of radios because they're all ready to go. We just load the software, do a final test, and out the door, and the UPS truck starts to show up. So we're super close. Nothing killing us.
Good. Okay. Perfect. Hey, that's great information. So I will be looking for that. I'm probably not on Gerald's email list, so I'll have to go sign up on that when we hang up here, so that I can kind of. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I've never had a Flex radio before, so I think this may be one of my first ones. But it's
and a lot of people haven't, and we actually have a program too that we have a return policy. You have 30 days.
Okay.
To try it out. 30 days to try out a radio. Don't like it? Send it back. I've been here, since July. Haven't taken one back yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. People who are interested in SDR pretty much already know about it, has been my experience. So they know what to expect. They know how it works, at least. And they're interested in trying something that's kind of off the cuff, I guess. A lot of people, I hear a lot of people talking about how, I'll never get rid of my FT101 or my Kenwood or my 480 SAT or IC7700 or whatever, and I'm like, well, neither will I, but that doesn't mean I can't also have an SDR. So I've never had an SDR only radio. There's a couple of those hybrid radios that are out there. I think maybe the IC7300 is a hybrid. Internally it's SDR, but it's in a box like your Maestro is, but it's a real radio. I mean, it's a big, what you would expect a radio to look like. It's kind of, you wouldn't be able to run it mobile very easily. But
you know, ICOM did a great job with that radio, the 7300, and they certainly validated SDR as mainstream as where we're going to go next.
Yeah.
I'll pass on some comments I've heard from new users.
Okay.
These are not the tinkerers. These are the these are the guys that are on, they own a frequency, you know, so to speak, and they rank you, or they chase DX, or they're a contester. And without fail, I hear, listening to Sideband, it's easier in my ears from a contester who's on it for 48 hours working CQ worldwide. And even more so on the RTTY guys. They said, my head's not ringing like it used to.
Yeah,
You do learn about, as I mentioned, the AGCT and how to use RF gain, which we were all probably taught as we got into HF and then promptly forgot how to use it. But the AGCT is certainly one of the more powerful tools.
Okay.
I've heard that my audio's never been cleaner. And there's three key things I want to talk about with all of our radios in Smart SDR. One is something called controlled envelope single sideband. Now, if you get QST and you remember the article, controlled envelope single sideband is about the ability to properly manage our RF ALC. And the way we do it, even in the old days, even to your FT1000 MP, is if you start to overdrive and get over 100% modulation, the radio clamps down and shuts down the, well, that's way too late in the chain. And the end result is, with Smart SDR running controlled envelope single sideband, which you turn on but you don't really know you turned it on, you're seeing an effective power gain of 2.1 dB. What would you pay for an extra 2 dB or 2.2 dB of transmitted signal on 80 meters? Okay, other than an amp.
Yeah.
Okay, not going to do much antenna-wise. Most of us can't.
Yeah.
Get an inverted V at best, right? In a 50-foot tower, and that's as good as it gets for most people. Of course, unless you live in Texas and everything's just bigger for the Texas guys. But if you live in an urban area, you're going to put up with an 80 meter with a dog leg here and there, and it works. And it's not bad. But we've just given you 2.2 extra RF dB, even at full power. The other thing is our wide noise blanker. Our wide noise blanker looks at the whole, not just 40 meters, but it's wide, and it will take out the noise and hear signals you won't have. Highly recommend you go over to YouTube and just search for wide noise blanker Smart SDR. And there's many videos of people going, I can't believe the difference. And they go on to 40, and you're dialing around at 40. It's 8 o'clock at night, and your wife's watching a movie. The band's dead. And you're looking at an S9 noise floor. And I kid you not, and you turn this on, and the noise floor drops by 20 dB.
Wow.
And you're hearing people.
Wow.
And I show this at every talk I do. And yeah, we have some flex people at talks. We have some people like me sitting there like, I watch all of them, and they go, and their jaw literally drops.
Yeah.
Now they can hear things.
Yeah.
And that's been a big deal.
Good. Good. Okay. Perfect. Well, I think the Skype connection's starting to get a little bit wonky.
I see that.
I've noticed.
I know 250 megabit isn't enough again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think it's something with Skype because on every interview I've ever done on Skype, once you get to like that 40-45 minute mark, it just starts to lose quality. And I show we're at 43 minutes right now, so I don't know. That's just a theory I have.
Is the NSA getting their hooks into it?
Yeah, maybe. You never know. You never can tell. All right, Michael, I really appreciate you coming in and telling us about this. And these talks that you've mentioned, are you giving any of those at Dayton this year?
Maybe. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but they've approached us for a couple of things, so
hopefully
I'll be there.
Okay. Well, I'll be watching the Dayton Hamvention website and seeing when they post all their stuff. I recorded 3 or 4 different forums last year, and I'm going to record 3 different forums at Orlando next month. So usually what I do is I wait till they post all that stuff, then I'll email various people and say, hey, would you mind if I recorded your forum? So I'll look when they update that here in a few months and see what kind of information they put up there, and if I see your name, I'll be sure and shoot you an email and see what we can do about it.
Forward to it, too. By the way, I want to say one more thing, too. We've made remote operating a lot easier, as we mentioned, but here's some really good caveats on remote operating. It's not just contesting, but, as we get older and we move into homes or, controlled areas. I have many customers where 4 or 5 guys have gotten together and they've built a remote station so they can share it and use it, and they don't have to move it again.
Right.
I've got a couple, too, that are using it for shut-ins, where guys have ended up in hospital or whatever for long-term reason, and they show up with their iPad and they still get on the air. Now, can you imagine being a shut-in, me? I couldn't get on the air, so now you can bring the radio in, and I think you used to phone patch people on the air, right? And they'd check into their favorite net, but now they can be on the air.
Now they can actually be on the air. Wow.
So
really cool.
A little bit more than just what we've grown up with, but
right.
a bit more flexibility.
Oh, yeah, lots more for sure. Cool. Well, that's some really neat stuff. I look forward to trying it out and talking to you more about it. I mean, after we get this posted up and everything, we maybe a month or two after y'all release this new product line, we can get back and I'll get you on Skype again, and we can do another kind of follow-up video to see
I'd love to.
How what kind of feedback you're getting. Maybe get some on-the-air demonstrations or something like that. So that'd be cool.
We would look forward to it.
So, all right, good. All right, I appreciate it. I'll give you the rest of your day back. It's about 4 o'clock here where I'm at. But are you in? Which time zone are you in?
I'm in Toronto. I'm in Eastern time zone, and I can see my inbox here that you probably, those with astute ears may have heard the phone ringing off the hook here for the sales line, it's actually everything that I get. So I front end, but I got a couple of people to go call back, so they'll want some details and stuff. So
awesome. Okay.
And if you do try to call us, by the way, and you can't get hold of us, and it goes to voicemail, it hovers around for about 3 minutes, just while you give us a chance to get off the phone and talk to the next person. Please leave a voicemail. We actually do return all our phone calls, so it's not a waste of time. Good to know. Okay. Always leave a voicemail if you call. All right, Michael. That's a Don Cherry thing. My Canadian guys will know what that is. That's a hockey thing. Hockey. There you go. Okay. All right. We have hockey down here, but we're not into it as much as you guys are. So, all right, man. I really do appreciate it. Once again, some really cool stuff that Flex is doing, and looking forward to trying it out on the air. And we'll do a follow-up video here in a couple months for sure. So, all right. Look forward to it. All right. Thank you once more.
This has been Ham Radio 2.0, a YouTube production by KC5HWB. Visit our website at www.livefromthehamshack.tv. Please also stop by our Facebook page at fb.me/hamradio2. Be sure and subscribe here on YouTube to keep up with all the new videos that are posted nearly every Monday. 73s everyone, and thanks for watching.